Oh, what a weekend of football we just had. Some absolutely amazing outcomes. And then there was just some outcomes that, I mean, we hope for better. What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. You know what time it is. It is time to review the action that just took place last week in the NFL. It was divisional round action. We had 8 teams left, 4 games, now down to just 4 teams. 4 teams, 2 games left.
2 games.
Man, oh man. Without further ado, let's just get into the action. Let's start the show. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. You know what time it is. It is time to review the action that just took place in the NFL. It is NFL playoffs. It was divisional round action. Like I just said, we had 8 teams. We had 4 games. We are now whittled down to 4 teams and only 2 games left. We had some hot and heavy action. We had some exciting action. We had some very upsetting action. Depending on who you are a fan of, to end our week, we will get into all of that. But as always, joining me to break down the action. Hi, how's it going? I am Jacob Cutler, one half of the Sports Guys. And as always, joining me, he is none other than Mr. Brandon Sullivan, the other half of the Sports Guys and one of my best friends. Brandon, how are you doing, my friend?
Long day today. Glad the work day is over. Glad everything's taken care of. We can get into some football, but the 49ers, they live to fight another day, so I can't be anything more happy. Jake, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. What an exciting weekend of football it was. Capped off by a dramatic ending there in Buffalo. And we are going to break it all down. But first, let's quickly remind people how we did last week. Let's put it up on the screen. Yes, for yourself. 4-0, correctly picking each and every single divisional round game. Very well done, my friend. 1-0 on your guaranteed victories. The Niners getting the job done by the skin of their teeth. BCB, whipping it out, laying it on the table, showing everybody what he's made of, getting the job done. For myself, 2-2, 0-1 on my guaranteed victories. I took a shot in the dark, hoping that CJ Stroud and the Texans would be able to just make my 2024 even better. Now that almost one team, there's still 2 teams that need to be eliminated. Unfortunately, one of those teams is going to move on to the Super Bowl. I guess you can't get everything you want. But the Texans not able to get the job done. And then for our special guests, they are 3-3. Andy's being our only special guest so far. 3-3, 1-0 on his guaranteed victories. There you go. Overall, for the playoffs, that puts us at, for yourself, 6-4, 1-1 on your guaranteed victories. For myself, 5-5, 1-1 on my guaranteed victories. Look at that, nice and easy. Let's wipe those off the screen. Let's get into the action. So, hit me with the good that you saw from the divisional round. There's 4 games, nice and easy. What you got?
Obviously, Detroit Lions, played very well. They got their run game going. Goff had a pretty good game, and the defense stepped up and, forced a couple of interceptions for, there, and a game-stealing walk-off interception at the end. Mm-hmm. Credit to the Lions. That's obviously what I want to highlight because they waited 32 years to win a playoff game, and then had to wait just one more week to win again. So congratulations to the Detroit Lions for making it to the NFC Conference Championship. I mean, to, like you said, to wait over 3 decades to win a playoff game, but winning not one but two playoff games, it just shows that, that organization is headed in the right direction, and they deserve it. I mean, they've been down and kind of the joke of the league, along with a couple of other teams, and in the last decade or 15 years, they were a team that went 0-16. So for them to turn it around under Dan Campbell, and Goff having his story coming out of LA with that trade, and drafting very well with some of the picks that they picked up. The Lions have I texted Jake this, I think last week or the week before. They're a very blue collar team. They work really hard. They're really they do really well in the trenches, and they had an all around really good game. I was impressed with the way that Baker played despite the two picks. I want to say that he did pretty well on the road. Mike Evans dropped a couple key, and they had some drops in that were really critical in those moments that
totally,
kind of just completely depleted the momentum. So thought that there was really well. And then obviously Lamar in the second half of that Texans game came to life. That team, I think they outscored the Texans 24-0 in the second half. The defense was, they put the clamps on, and they showed that they're the best defense in the NFL. I mean, you can make an argument that the Niners are right there with them, but the Ravens, they definitely have a very good defense.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Chiefs, finding a way to outwit and outlast the Buffalo Bills. Manufacturing some good drives there at the end, and then obviously the missed kick was too much pressure for Bass, and they just couldn't get it done. So in those critical moments, in those very close pivotal games, Patrick Mahomes thrives, and he finds ways to win, and that's what champions do. So I got to give him credit. That's what I thought would happen. I said I thought it would be a very close game, but I thought the Chiefs would win this game, and it is because Patrick Mahomes is the new Tom Brady in the AFC. Meaning, I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying that he is breaking the hearts of all these different AFC teams.
Definitely.
So credit to Patrick Mahomes, 6 straight AFC championship games, even with a team full of retread receivers, question marks, new offense, getting rid of their offensive coordinator, or him moving on. Losing players, key critical players like Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyrann Mathieu a couple years back. They've held it together. Obviously Pacheco is such a good running back, but them to be able to get that done was impressive. I think going on the road to Buffalo, I think not a lot of people expected that. So, kudos to them. And then obviously the 49ers. It was an ugly game. I'm not going to address the ugly right now, but I'm going to say the good in that game, final drive, right? I don't know if you saw Pat McAfee. He said he's done with the Brock Purdy slander. He is done with it. He says, how can you not like a guy who's a second-year quarterback? Why? I've never seen, and Deebo Samuel posted it too, we've never seen the hate on a quarterback in his second year.
I agree.
24 years old, and you're comparing him to 28 or 29-year-old Patrick Mahomes. It makes no sense, okay? It makes no sense that you're comparing him to Lamar, who's 3 years older than him. This guy has done nothing but win. He is 24 years old, and he is still learning.
Yeah.
He is coming off of a UCL tear. There was question marks on whether if he's ever going to be able to play again. And what does he do? Well, I'm going to tell you. Game on the line, in the rain, short, your best, arguably your best offensive weapon next to Christian McCaffrey. The playbook is made for having Deebo Samuel in the game with all of your motions. Brock Purdy drives down 6 of 7, 55 yards, and a 9-yard rush. The only drop was a George Kittle wide open drop. It should have been 7 of 7.
Yeah, he should have. Yeah, definitely.
Throwing dimes to Brandon Ayuk. Chris Conley coming out of the woodwork to catch a clutch And getting receivers like Chris Conley involved is something that Jimmy Garoppolo never would have done. So, and we give Jimmy Garoppolo all this credit. A guy who sat behind Tom Brady, won 2 Super Bowls, had one of the best teams in the league, and was a veteran. It was like 29, 30 years old. We're talking about a 24-year-old who said, you know what? I have not played it well at all this game, Jake, but you know what I'm going to do? I am going to help facilitate a drive in the critical moment when our season is on the line. We could be going on here. 6 of 7, 9-yard rush.
Yeah.
Touchdown with a minute and 7 to go on the clock when we needed it. Brock Purdy. Oh, he can't lead a comeback drive. Oh, he can't play in the rain. Oh, all this stuff. But when he needed to do it, not only did he play in the rain, oh, he can't do it if he doesn't have all these weapons. Take away Deebo Samuel playing in the rain, playing down. It's not good enough still. Oh, now that we've got it, Nick Wright,
Nick Wrong.
Bayless, Greg Jennings. It wasn't the win. He came back, but that's not what we were looking for. That's not the type of comeback that we were looking for. So credit to Brock Purdy. He tore his UCL last year in Philadelphia. Next season, full circle, brings us right back to where we were last year. And that is how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, Brock Purdy, right? Trying to at least silence the naysayers. And man, oh man, are there a lot of them out there. But yeah, definitely the Niners showed a lot of heart. Brock Purdy showed a lot of heart on there. You forgot third and Juwan. Juwan Jennings coming through big time clutch city there for the San Francisco 49ers. And then Christian McCaffrey. The anchor that holds down this team. Basically, if the Niners need something, just give the ball to CMC and let him work, because that's exactly what they were able to do. His touchdown run, where basically he just broke one tackle and then he was off to the races. Nobody was in front of him. Boom, easy, simple. I think it was a 24 to 31 yard touchdown. Easy for Christian McCaffrey. And then the game
agree or disagree here, Jake, not to cut you off, because you make a good point. CMC is the anchor of this team. How could I forget CMC, who is by far the best running back in the league?
True.
Agree or disagree? Christian McCaffrey has the chance of being the greatest running back of all time. He has a chance at it.
Maybe.
If he keeps playing at this level. He's 26, so if he keeps playing at this level.
If he's able to play at this level for a long time, sure. But it's gonna be hard for him to touch Emmett. I think he'll be the.
I think Barry's better than Emmett.
Barry in terms of, I think now, does Christian McCaffrey have a chance to be better than Barry? Yeah, sure. Just because they are very similar running styles in terms of the elusiveness, the agility, the way to get out of.
It's all going to be subjective in the top 3, but how about this? He has an opportunity to be one of the top 3 best running backs of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always going to be subjective when you put them in there.
Definitely. I think, out of all the running backs that we've seen, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Alexander, who else? Eddie George, Derrick Henry, Chris Johnson. There's Adrian Peterson, Marshall Faulk, right? There's a ton of them. There is a ton of high-level running backs. I think, to get in that upper echelon of the Adrian Petersons, of the Barry Sanders, the Emmitt Smiths, he definitely can. He definitely has that ability. But I think it's going to take a little bit of doing. It's going to take a little bit of doing from Christian McCaffrey and the San Francisco 49ers, or whatever team he ends up being on, just because running backs now currently in the NFL have a very short shelf life.
He's not leaving the Niners.
It's not even so much the Niners. It's just how good you are able to how long you're able to maintain your success. Not everybody is Derrick Henry, right? If we go back and we look through the leading years of NFL rushing leaders, almost every single year for the last 10 years, it's going to be a different running back, because every single year somebody steps up, injuries happen, somebody falls off, regresses. So if he's able to maintain this high level of play, then yeah, certainly he has a chance to easily fit into the top 5, top 3 best running backs of all time, just because of how dynamic.
I've just never seen anybody like him. Personally, I just think this guy is incredible.
Definitely.
He's so smart. He's just
just like on that last touchdown. Yeah, just like on the last touchdown run.
No, he made that happen.
He bounces off a couple tackles, and then there's nobody in front of him. Now, horrible tackling by the Packers, but he bounces off those 2 tackles, and then he's just walking in. So he's tough. He's small, which basically he has a lower center of gravity, but his elusiveness, his ability to cut, like you said, his running back vision is definitely up there with some of the best of all time. Certainly, no doubt. The San Francisco 49ers, it's going to be very interesting now to see what happens against Detroit. But the Green Bay Packers, man, Jordan Love, holy moly, this kid is a baller. Good for Jordan Love. I mean, even myself, Brandon.
Yeah.
I mean, we will definitely not. We will definitely tell you that we were not a huge fan of Jordan Love to start off this season. And even halfway through this season, we were still not a huge fan. But I mean, yeah, the run that this guy went on to end this season, I'm hoping propels the Packers into somewhat of a good next season, because I mean, the momentum that he carried, I mean, it was 20 touchdowns, 1 interceptions to end the regular season. And then going into the playoffs, I mean, absolutely annihilating the Dallas Cowboys, and then bringing the San Francisco 49ers to the absolute brink of elimination, because if Brock didn't get the job done, the Niners are home. We're looking at his 21-17 victory by the Green Bay Packers, and an absolute shock that Jordan Love would be in the conference championship. But nevertheless, I mean, those young studs, I mean, the Packers have like a plethora of receivers. Hilarious. They get receivers the year after Aaron Rodgers leaves. Hilarious. That's all the man wanted for his entire career there in Green Bay, with some receivers to throw the ball to, and you go out and you get them the year after he leaves. Hilarious. But yeah, Jordan Love, I mean, has a solid young core of receivers, has a solid young core of tight ends. That defense, I mean, the Packers defense has always been, decent to good they have touched that great level here and there, but the Packers defense, I mean, solid. So going into next season, I do fully expect the Green Bay Packers to challenge the Detroit Lions for that NFC North championship, because they played amazing. And Aaron Jones, we talked about it a little bit last week, super underrated, man. Aaron Jones is super underrated as a running back, and I mean, he can easily anchor that team and help them reach their goals that they're looking to achieve, because the Green Bay Packers, man, they could possibly be a team to look out for. Jordan Love, we'll see his development in the offseason. The Baltimore Ravens, absolutely. I mean, I don't know, like the announcer said, I don't know what John Harbaugh said during halftime to these guys, but yeah, these guys came out with their heads on fire. Kind of upsetting, because I mean, the Houston Texans were slicing these guys up over the middle, and then for whatever reason, they just stopped throwing over the middle. They started doing out routes, check downs, small crosses, but Nico Collins was running free in the secondary in that middle of the field. I don't know why they stopped doing it. They got to get a running game. Devin Singletary is not going to cut it. He didn't cut it there in Buffalo. He's not going to cut it there in Texas. Derrick Henry might be an option to bring into a good veteran back that for sure is going to produce, and you could easily get a young back. There are a ton of young backs around the league. There's going to be a ton of young running backs in this draft. So that is something to look into, but the Texans definitely need a running game. And CJ Stroud is only going to improve. What a hell of a season for CJ Stroud. What a hell of a season for DeMeco Ryans. The Houston Texans. I mean, if you guys remember, this was formerly the Houston Dumpster Fire Texans. They lost that name this season. So the Texans are on the roll. They're on the move. We'll see what happens. They're like kind of like the Green Bay Packers next season. I fully expect if Trevor Lawrence can't turn it around, and injuries definitely played a role, but the Texans and the Jags, and I guess you could say the Colts now, AFC South could go from one of the worst divisions to one of the best divisions here in a couple of years. So Houston Texans, great job on a great season. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and that defense getting the job done there at home, moving on to the conference championship. Really no shocker there. The Detroit Lions. I mean, what an emotional game that was. If you just love football and if you have just been a part of just the Lions ride. I mean, if you watch football and if you're watching our videos, you do. I mean, you've been a part of the Lions journey. You were there when they went 0-17. Now, I want to put this little seed of nugget in your head. The Lions went 0-17 this century, and they still have advanced to a conference championship before the Dallas Cowboys. So, you know what that means, my friend? I think the Dallas Cowboys need a new name. And I think the Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys are good. I'll give it to them. But you want to know what the Dallas Cowboys really, truly are, my friend?
What?
Next season, the Dallas Cowboys will now be known as the Dallas Dumpster Fire Cowgirls. Yeah, Dallas. What do you got for me?
Dallas Con Artist Cowboys.
Oh, the con artist.
Out of their money and merchandise.
Artist. That's a good one. I like it.
Yes.
I like it. Yes, the Detroit Lions have made a conference championship this century before the Dallas Cowboys. And Jerry Jones, all the money that you spent, I mean,
the con artists.
You could have saved it. The Dallas Con Artists. Yep. I mean, we can just change their name officially in the NFL. They should just be the Dallas Con Artists.
Yeah, they should be.
I mean,
officially no, the Packers have been eliminated. I'm just saying, how did you lose? I'm just saying, how did you get blown out in your house?
Blown out. The Niners at least kept it close. You couldn't keep it close?
No, the only reason they kept it close is because there's momentum from that game. Well,
yeah.
It was a close game, and it was raining and all this stuff. The great equalizer. If it was a 3 p.m. game and the sun was out, we probably would have destroyed the Packers. Let's be real here.
The weather definitely played a role.
It's a great neutralizer, and
gotta
give them credit. They took advantage of it. Brock, weakness. That's part of football, man. So I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have been, but I'm just saying. Now the Packers have been eliminated. It's like, wow, you were the only team in NFL history to get eliminated by a 7 seed. Congratulations.
The Detroit Lions, baby, rising like a true phoenix. The Detroit Phoenixes is what they should be called. Rising from the ashes and just coming and being reborn into a new powerhouse. I mean, like I said, a lot of this is these games. I got to give kudos to the team that lost, especially Baker Mayfield. I mean, I don't know what happened with Mike Evans, but he got the case
with Devin
drop.
White. Where's Devin White?
Well,
where the hell is Devin White?
I'm just talking about Mike Evans. Over the last few weeks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Evans has gotten the case of the drops.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. But Devin White is non-existent too. I just feel like
the defense.
There's players. No, I get it, but it's if he had been a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro caliber player out there with, David, they would have probably played better defense on the line.
True.
So it's
true.
To Baker's defense, your defense is kind of fun. But I really like Todd Bowles. I just do. I really like that guy. I do.
I like Todd Bowles. I don't like the decision. Like you pointed out, I don't like the decision. You pointed out to me on text. I don't like the decision for them to not call a timeout with 30. I think it was 37 seconds.
What the hell was that?
Or something like that. Yeah, I didn't. I guess I missed that initially because I guess I was just kind of focused on the Lions actually getting the job done. But totally, yeah, you had one timeout left. You could have easily called the timeout, forced a long field goal, And who knows what would happen? You could add a kick six, block. Who knows? So yeah, there's that little falter there at the end. But Tampa Bay, I mean, Baker Mayfield, man, coming in on a team-friendly contract, a 1-year deal. Who knows where he's going to be next year? He might be in Tampa Bay. He might be with another team next year, doing the exact same thing he was doing this year. So Baker Mayfield, man, I'll be honest. A lot of respect. You got to respect the guy who shows heart, who shows grit, who shows toughness, the willingness to just compete no matter what the situation is. And I mean, he's been presented with some very interesting situations over the last 2 years, starting with the Cleveland, going all the way now to the Tampa Bay situation where he was actually able to shine, took his team to the playoffs, also won a division title. So, I mean, say what you will about the guy, but, he gets the job done. He definitely gets the job done. He is a starter in this league for sure. He's a starter for a reason also. But yeah, Mike Evans, I mean, obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer, 10 consecutive years of 1,000-yard seasons, never been done in NFL history. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. One of the best receivers of all time. Definitely not talked about enough as one of the top receivers of all time, just because he's not flashy. He's just big. He goes out there, he catches the ball, he gets the job done, and he gets in the end zone. But Mike Evans, I'll be honest, if I'm doing a pickup game, if I'm looking around trying to see who I want on my team, I mean, Mr. Consistent.
Shout out Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, right. Johnny Manziel started him right at Texas A&M, going all the way back. So I mean, Mike Evans, hell of a career, even going back to college, right? I mean, that was Johnny's anchor. So going all the way back to college, into the NFL, just Mr. Consistent. I mean, that's the best name for Mike Evans. It's 10 consecutive seasons. The proof is in the pudding. The numbers speak for themselves. So a lot of respect.
He's
for
like
Mike
Frank
Evans.
Gore. He's like Frank Gore.
Definitely. That's a great comparison. Not flashy, but just consistent. Gets the job done. He's never going to be number one, but he'll be top 10, top 5. He'll be right in there. He'll be in the mix. He'll be competing. He might have led the NFL in receiving 1 year, honestly, with the amount of times that he's did. With Winston, with Jameis and all that down there too, and Brady too. So he's got some guys slinging him the ball. So good for Mike Evans. Hell of a career. We'll see what happens with him coming off this offseason. I still think he's got some gas left in the tank. But the Bucs, a lot of respect. The Detroit Lions, I mean, great job. Jared Goff, NFL scriptwriters in their bag this week or last week, sending Jared Goff home to the Bay Area if he can break the hearts of the Bay Areans, man, oh man, would that be something. But the Detroit Lions are now moving on to Levi Stadium, take on the San Francisco 49ers. And then quickly, lastly, the Chiefs. Yep, Chiefs get the job done in some bad. I mean, what is it good at this point, or is it just expected at this point? I mean, the Bills, let's just go right into the Bugly. I'll kick us off, and then I'm going to feed it right over to you. The Buffalo Bills are freaking garbage, dude. The Buffalo Bills are garbage. Stephon Diggs, keep waiting. Keep standing outside watching the ceremonies pass you by, bro. Getting wide open balls passed directly to you, dude, going right through your hands. What are you doing? Josh Allen, why are you chucking the ball into the end zone when you don't need a touchdown, bro? Just get the first down. You're chucking the ball 25 plus yards in the end zone. Crappy passes. You have there's 3 wide open receivers right in front of you, dude. When the lights got bright, they folded. Simple as that. What Bugly you got for me for the divisional round?
Yes, expand off what you're saying. Buffalo Bills, unbelievable. Like, you know what? You get a golden opportunity with a touchback into the end zone. It's unbelievable.
That's the best word for the game, dude. It's really unbelievable. It's really unbelievable.
You beat the refs. You just couldn't beat the Chiefs, and it's like you beat yourself again. And it's like Stephon Diggs, if I see it on the TV screen live, even before they replay it, that Stephon Diggs is wide open, how are you, a 6'5" quarterback, and you are on that field and you do not see Stephon Diggs wide open? It's not a race to see. And that is why I'm sorry. And this is what I'm going to come out on record and say right now, currently. I don't know about next year. I don't know about if he's on a different team. I don't know in 3 years from now. I'm saying currently I'm taking the smarts of Brock Purdy over Josh Allen. I know Josh Allen's flashy, 6'5". He's going to run for a bunch of yards. He's going to get you all that stuff. But I'm saying as far as the smartness, and I'm not saying that I'm taking Josh Allen over, or I'm taking Brock Purdy over Josh Allen, because if I had the opportunity to have Josh Allen over Brock Purdy, I mean, I love Brock, but I would take that into consideration.
QB IQ.
His IQ is much higher, because in that situation, in a playoff game, I'm not saying against the Baltimore Ravens in a regular season game, I'm saying in a playoff game, he would have dumped that off to IU or whatever that was. Diggs, why would you go to some retread effing receiver in the end zone when you have your guy, the guy you trust the most, Stephon Diggs, one of the top 5 receiver in the NFL, and you had him wide open, and you tried to go for, and it's like an ego thing. You tried to go for like a jugular, and it's like, here's the thing: you needed to make sure that you got more yards in that wind, and just the kicker. It just, in those critical situations when you're down, the game's not tied. When you're down by 3, the pressure is immense, because you know if you miss it, the game's over. So you needed to get closer to the goalpost. You needed to get closer to the end zone. And what do? You make a terrible decision, make a terrible pass, and that's just something that I don't see Brock Purdy doing. I think in critical moments, he's going to make the right pass to Chris Conley. He's going to take what the defense gives him.
He did get lucky. Brock got lucky, though, against the Packers. That one pass to Juwan Jennings at the end of the game where it went right over his hands, and the Packers defender wasn't ready for it, and he dropped it. So
you're talking about the beginning.
No, that was the end. Towards the end. This was like one of the last couple drives that it would have been a very damaging. But yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I hear it. IQ wise, I agree. Because I mean,
Well, when it mattered though, the team was down by the same amount of points. The team was down by 4. He was down by 3. So let's compare the drives. Brock Purdy, both are at home. Okay. Brock Purdy was down by 4. Josh Allen was down by 3. Brock Purdy took what the defense gave him.
Great.
And was able to take us to the. He isn't a guy that generally runs the ball, but you know what? There was a running lane. He took 9 yards. He saw. You know what? I know that Brandon Ayuk's a little bit covered here. Let me go to Chris Conley, okay? Because I think that's the most effective situation right here. I know on 3rd down, Brandon Ayuk is my best option. Let me laser this in. Let me go to the guy I trust more than anybody. Josh Allen should have done that with Stephon Diggs. And at the end of the day, one guy is in the conference championship and the other guy is going home. Because he tried to do too much. And it's unbelievable. It really is, because the Buffalo Bills, talent-wise, are much better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And you're at home. You're at home. You're at home. So, like a very ugly game for the Bills. They did everything they could to lose that game, and it's just sad. Texans, ugly second half. I don't know what the hell that was. Like, ever since Connor Fairbairn missed that field goal, I told you, all the momentum, it all shifted. And it's like, it just shows the inexperience. And I just knew there was no way they were going to win that game. The inexperience of, never being in those moments and having a rookie quarterback, and, 24 unanswered points on the road. It just wasn't going to happen. So just an ugly, I don't know what the hell I watched in that second half.
I don't know what team. I don't even know what team that was.
And, obviously, not to touch too much on the Bucs game. I thought that there wasn't too much ugly in that game. Obviously Baker throwing those 2 picks, and that was a very bad decision at the end of the game. He didn't need to make that decision to throw it over the middle, right there at a linebacker. Take what the defense gives you. But here's the thing. everybody is giving Jordan Love so much credit, and rightfully so. I'm not taking anything away from him. But when Brock Purdy had the opportunity to go down and win the game and put it together, manufacture a scoring drive, he did.
Yeah.
Jordan Love had the same opportunity, and what did he do?
Sure. He Brett Favre.
Yeah. So it's like, my thing is, but I'm not taking anything away. But how, if you got to give Brock Purdy credit, because
totally, of course.
They both. A lot of people don't want to. They want to say Jordan Love was amazing and Brock Purdy was whatever. Brock Purdy, I'm going to take the quarterback, okay, that played terribly in the first 3 quarters, but when they needed to deliver, they delivered, and we've seen Mahomes and Brady do that time and time and time and time again. Rather than the quarterback who's flashy for 3 quarters and then pulls a Jalen Hurts at the end, or like at the end of the game, they throw a pick, they throw 2 picks, but they were good the whole game.
Yeah,
I'm taking this. So very ugly throw at the end of the game. Jordan Love didn't need to do that. They had a minute. They had 2 timeouts. You didn't need to force anything there. It's first down. Just throw it out of bounds. Throw it out of bounds. So that decision was like inexperience, and he'll learn from it. But all around, I mean, Niners, they could not get shit going in that first half. They couldn't get anything going. I just think not having Devo out there, the rain. I mean, I don't want to make too many excuses, but you have you game plan around a guy, but just a really ugly first 3 quarters for the Niners. And the fourth quarter, something happened. I think, you know what I think it was? Did you see Brock Purdy get mad at Ray McLeod for running its wrong route? He's like, "What are you doing?" Did you see that? He got really upset. So. Showed him yelling. Yeah, I think that's like right at that moment, like something clicked for that. Like, I think like they had 10 unanswered points, and Ray McLeod missed a route where he probably would have scored a touchdown, and that probably should have been Debo, or Ayuk probably should have been there, and Debo was probably where Ayuk was. But man, oh man, what a ugly 3 quarters for the 49ers, man. I don't know about you, but me personally, I was so nervous. I was like contemplating my season back and forth. Like, I was like, oh, the season's over, and I'm thinking about what the interviews are going to be like and what's going to happen with the off season.
It was
I was scared, man. When Aaron Jones ripped off that 70-yard run on our defense, the run defense was pitiful.
Yeah.
But when Aaron Jones ripped off that 70-yard run, dude, and they were up 21-17, I was like, I think I texted you, I was like, that's game. Like, I really thought that, like, all the momentum was with Green Bay, and they were going to score on that drive. So the fact that he missed that field goal,
it was Carlson. Like, that was huge.
I didn't expect that, right? I thought he would make a 40-yard field goal.
Definitely.
Man. Yep. It's a wild card. Credit to, not to get to the good, because we've already got that, but to just say one thing.
Yeah.
Credit, it reminded me, Jake Moody 52-yard kick in the rain. Credit to Jake Moody. I was not sure if he was going to come through, but ugly final possession for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, what a divisional round. Most of the games were back and forth. They had definitely had their snoozing moments. Bills definitely the ugliest of the ugly in this divisional round. I'm looking around. I think, we kind of touched on everything. I'm more so proud of these younger teams. More so, obviously they're going to make mistakes. They haven't been in these situations before, but for them to just play the way that they played, get to where they were. I mean, the Texans in the first half, I mean, going into halftime, that game was 50-50. You didn't know who was going to win. So, I mean, credit to everybody. Credit to all these teams in these playoffs. Buffalo Bills, I know we harp on them. Credit to them. They played tough, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, you got to get the job done. You got to help out every NFL. I mean, we root for you, Buffalo Bills. You understand that the entire NFL world roots for you. So when you do stuff like this, it makes it hard for us to root for you in the future. So next time when you're presented with this opportunity, don't let it pass. Please. What did we learn from the divisional round? I think we learned that the Buffalo Bills are never going to win a Super Bowl, ever. Yeah. What else did we learn? I think Baker Mayfield is going to make a lot of money this offseason. I think the Houston Texans are going to be a very intriguing team to watch over the next couple of years, and just adding to another list, a team to the Bengals list of people that we got to worry about now. Great. Right, BCB laying it out on the table, showing what he's got. Lamar Jackson, right? I guess you could say solidifying the MVP race. I guess that's still subjective as well. And then the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff victory there in Buffalo. That's going to do it. Oh, and then finally, of course, the Detroit Lions, Detroit Rolling Motor City Lions, advancing to the conference championship for the first time in over 30 years. That is going to do it for this edition of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Man, oh man, we are done with the divisional round. We are on to conference championships. We got 2 games next week. Nice and easy for you. Brandon, any last words for the people?
Another big game coming up, like Jake said, conference championship. So, we're down to 4 teams. It's crazy to think, these teams, 2 big games Sunday, with a big trip on the line to Las Vegas.
Massive games coming up for us on Sunday. The table is set. Everybody is ready. All that's left is for the games to be played. We go through, let's see, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. We go through about 8 or 9 months, start going all the way back with training camp and NFL draft. We go through about 9 months of this, all whittled down to 4 teams, 2 games, 1 day to decide who plays in the grand finale in 3 weeks. I mean, what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? It is time. Here we go. We are set. Table's ready to go. Brandon's ready. I'm ready. So we're going to get to it. That's going to do it for this edition of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. I am Jacob Cutler, one half of the Sports Guys. He is Brandon Sullivan, the other half of the Sports Guys. And until our picks episode, Brandon and Jake, we're out.